was this thing on, right, called The Only Way is Essex, but I didn't really get it. It was like real, with real people in it, doing real things, except it wasn't like totally real. And the people in it didn't look real, but sort of like computer simulations of massive arseholes. It was like if Big Brother had been done as an American film, and instead of a script, it just had these people sort of saying, like, absolutely anything.
Hello, honey.
Hello. What have you been up to?
Yeah, I've just been it was like, oh, can you come and see me quick?
Yeah.
So I went down there, I was swimming for ages, and he's like, come in, you help out the door.
It was all sort of pink and orange, and then they'd cut to something green just to fool you, and then go back to the pink and orange. I don't know, it did my head in. It was about these medieval people who lived in a house with antiques in it, but they didn't know they were antiques because it was the past, so they were still new. The house was massive, like you'd have to be like Trevor Nelson or someone to afford a house like that, and the people who owned it were like royalish, and they had these slaves who did all the DIY and baked eggs for them and stuff. It was beautifully shot, I reckon. They must have had at least 2 cameras filming that, with really good film in them. Sometimes the camera was still, and sometimes it'd move, so you never knew what was coming next. And you could hear what everyone was saying really clearly.
My first cousin and his son are almost certainly dead.
So they have really good microphones too. Anyway, I'll put it on and just like soak up the atmosphere. You know, like, you know, that's what the licence fee's all about. When Daybreak came along, right, some people like didn't like it because they're afraid of change and progress and like being bored and stuff. But I thought it was really clever, you know, like a TV experiment. Like someone at ITV had gone, what would happen if we took the one show and hid it somewhere where no one could see it, like first thing in the morning? But the set was a bit depressing though, because, you know, there were these big windows where it was often really dark, like the son had just died of leukemia. And so it all felt a bit like you were stuck at an airport at 4 in the morning with some people who just wouldn't shut up and were just talking and smiling and talking and going on and pointing at stuff and laughing and smiling and talking and laughing until you just think, I hate this world. I hate it. I hate this world. And that probably isn't the sort of tone they were going for. It's good, right, having a coalition government, because instead of being run by a load of MPs who all agree with each other, it's like Britain's being run by a sort of supergroup of 2 totally different musical acts, like if Boney M and Razorlight got together, you know, challenging. It's a bit odd now they're together for like the good of humankind and that. It's like when 2 lonely people who've never found love decide they might as well get together as a couple and force themselves to have sex. But like the coalition's a laugh, right? They put this little boy in charge of the money. He's called George, and he's like 14. He's mental, right? He's wheeled out this spending review thing, which is like a list of all the things we can't afford anymore, like, you know, schools made of gold or scroungers or basic human dignity. The politics used to be boring and stable, but the coalition like kept you guessing. Like Clegg said, he'd scrap tuition fees back completely, and now he's raising them. So you don't know what he's going to do next, which is brilliant, because he might like nuke Cardiff, or I don't know, like stick a new potato up his arse on Newsnight. You just don't know. It's genius. He's like Freddie Starr or something, you know, mad. When the X Factor came on, all glitzy like, they'd done this really clever thing, right? Because usually, when you audition like singing, even the good ones aren't as good as like proper stars, like, you know, Leona Lewis or JLS or something. But this year, they used a computer to make them sound like sort of electric space people, like if RoboCop was singing at a wedding.
Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit.
And what was really good was the shit ones who got laughed at didn't have the false voice thing put on. So when you were laughing at them, you knew you were really laughing at like the very core of their being, you know, cackling at their souls. Loads of people moaned about it, but what they didn't get was that the X Factor had to make the good ones sound good with a computer, because otherwise they might have sounded shit. And that wouldn't have made sense because the judges put them through. I mean, think about it. I mean, how are you meant to know they're a good singer if they keep hitting wrong notes?